in the 2014 Moto3 battle. He has been on the MotoGP podium here as well 6 years ago in 2019. Rain or shine, as Jack said to Jack. He's going to be going all in, isn't he, to try and get another podium here in front of his home fans.
Starting right next to him then, the pre-race favourite, well, to many he is, Marco Bezzecchi, even though he starts with the double long lap penalty to serve. Here is the grid, as Jack informed us, everyone on the medium rear. While you look at the grid, let's head down to the grid and speak to the boss at KTM. What chance of Pedro Acosta fighting for the podium today? Aki over Jack.
Yeah, once again proved yesterday that Pedro, the toughest man to overtake on the MotoGP grid right now. Aki, the switch to the medium rear, could that help you guys today? How do you fancy your chances?
Hopefully. It has been a few times this year that we see that on Sunday with the harder rear tire. Maybe we, let's say, somehow riders are a bit more comfortable. That at least it's not this, maybe those small problems what we have sometimes with the soft rear. And could be that then we are a little bit better position. But okay, now the main point is, of course, first of all, to see that if rain is coming or not. And of course, the latest discussions are just about this, if it's coming and what to do.
According to your information, how likely is it that this rain arrives?
If we trust our radars, it should not come anymore. But if you look to the sky, you cannot be sure.
Good luck, Aki.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Thanks to Aki. What's the famous saying in this part of the world? If you don't like the weather, just wait 10 minutes because it'll be completely different. 4 seasons
here as well. There's a little bit of a wrap as to who might be the teams to watch at the front of this grid. Jack Miller. It's going to be very, very exciting. Can we get another Aussie on the podium? Let's pause now for the Australian.
I see our land of Australia.
The hopes of a nation riding on Jack Miller here this afternoon. It's been a day to celebrate.
Right now, as it becomes real, having watched the rest of the day play out.
4 corners.
Look, he got an absolute cracker of a start in the sprint race. So I don't think we could expect much.
Position opted to run a medium tyre on the front of his bike, and that did not pay off.
But he used that medium front tyre in qualifying. He thought it'd be good for the race, but after 1 or 2 laps, so much good luck, bad luck, I don't know. But even the win yesterday wasn't a clean race. He hit the seagull at the lap. Any of those hard braking areas, you know, people trying to dive up the inside, make moves.
One of them, as was Alex Marquez. The front row are going to need to be mindful of them today, but from Pedro...
Spent a lot of time on small bikes, so mid-corner speed is something that goes anywhere. It was going to be here. So unfortunately for him, he's just got to have to give it everything he got, and hopefully he can make it happen.
The hopes of a nation ride on Jack Miller this afternoon. Will he make it onto the podium? It is time to go racing here at Phillip Island as we join our commentators.
There since the Saxon Ring in 2022. Cam yesterday's 13-lap sprint and this great nation, wondering if he can produce out Pedro Acosta from the second row of the grid. 7 laps. Are we going to get some flat in Phillip Island? The right French Grand Prix in Le Mans as we started our European. Third time you're joining us here in Australia. Crown MotoGP World Champion Marc Marquez. His knife, sadly, fracture to his for the remainder of 2025. Time in Grand Prix history, what a story this would be. Can actually seal second place overall in line in the sprint yesterday, 19th place, more than the championship. The rate is going for Thoreau. Then a rather disappointing 7th from pole position. The Yamaha in 7 years, Maverick Vinales did the business. Here in Australia, it's a superb start from second place into the Doohan corner. Acosta immediately up in 1-2 once again.
Another pole start, seputar out front, pull an advantage out, so the long lap's on.
On the 10 factory Honda going through the Miller corner. 8th.
I mean, Gian Antonio is up one into 9. Aprilia, but Pedro Acosta right behind Ralph.
A superb start, wasn't it, from Betset. The Grand Prix into the first of his 2 long MotoGP races since Marc Marquez, all the way back in lap 2 of 27, down in...
On your screens, Bezzecchi now in the next 5 laps, out of his window the first long lap, so even if he served his...
16 just saw him blitz Marini down the garden. There's a bit of a gap emerging here already, isn't there, between Bezzecchi...
Mario for Bez will be to come out of his first long lap in wayward, so Miller 5th from Alex Marquez in the top 10.
How on earth is Paul Espargaro? Tried a former Moto2 winner here, just...
So the gap from Bezzecchi back to Ralph really turning into a rather familiar experience. To be expected into the rest of the field, a 28-0.
Little pony underneath him there as he had a big twitch on the... And when you're on top of the fastest motorcycle in his 6th gear, it was easy as you like to take seconds.
Because the rider ahead of him is going to take a long lap. Well, oh, how hard he is to pass.
Bezzecchi stuck down in a very lonely 18th drift of Bez, who's just trying to build long laps.
Yeah, look at this pack behind him. Clear tarmac ahead of him to try and maximise his pace, but he's certainly going to lose the lead when he comes through the loop.
That medium rear tyre, again, he's in the 27s. How much is he already overcooking that medium time? Looking at our commentary box window, we're going to pick up nigh on 1.3 seconds here.
5 laps to play with. He's now gone through 3 targeted laps.
Yeah, you do choice. His hand was forced by the good news as far as Aprilia are concerned, isn't it? This is where Bezzecchi made the big mistake.
He did 28.4 on the last lap, which was on this lap actually. Bezzecchi's lost some of his advantage.
Back in the 28s, yeah, and Ralph Fernandez was faster. Fernandez, not a great lap for that from a Marquez behind him.
Turn 1 in the gravel trap, so now a bit of a head shake there for Bez, just to show how hard he then takes the lead of the Australian Grand Prix. Acosta,
Fabio Quartararo, now they go through to Siberia on that first lap. This is going to be a big old get-offers, and that front, just look at the big dark line he leaves, Joe, and let go of it. He finally done it. That's a nasty old get-off. So then Grand Prix, having raised the roof to get himself, that was almost like a rain crash, wasn't it? Miller, as he attacked into the Doohan corner.
He says that's why he's been practicing that all weekends. He's going to drop back somewhere near to Gian Antonio.
Group was taken out of the equation as far as Alex Marquez and Miller. Miller, though, down on that lap pit wall, just making sure that they know exactly.
He'll come in, so we'll see maybe through there on the next lap. Leads from Pedro Acosta. Neither have won for 3.5 years.
Yeah, he's close, or former close pal, Fermin Aldeguer, obviously the Aprilia, carries through 12. That's through Stoner corner, turn 3 through sort of 7 high-speed change of direction. Ducati GP24 in the hands of Alex Marquez behind.
Over to the right-hand side of your picture, here he comes into the long lap. He then rejoins behind Digia in 6th place.
Ahead of him are 2 Ducatis. Not very often you're going to see an Aprilia out-drag at the remaining here in Phillip Island.
We can actually see it now on the left-hand side of your screen. He's 2.8 riders up ahead of him to overtake. Behind him, we're not seeing any sign of coming forward progress from yet.
Yamaha is almost stripping the paintwork off the sorrow. More bother brewing here as well for quite out of the southern loop as the 72 bike of 2 seconds slower than Digia, who's now ahead of...
Stuck in traffic. Cash in, make A1.
When was the last time we had successive... what a move that is.
He's a threat.
You need some kind of abundance. And now the Gian Antonio from me, now in P4.
He was in the 27s last 3 so far. Of course, he has leg sprint station on his shoulders now.
That second get back into contention, trying to come from a long, long way back here. Not
about the Jack on the grid. It's not the long laps themselves slower than Ralph Fernandez, the leader.
I was going to say Aussie Sunshine, not quite as certain of this Grand Prix. Into Miller corner we go. Try and lunge through, going through turn 7 up. Just shows how good that move was by Did. Fernandez is about to have a lead of over 1 point.
From Bez in Indonesia, of course, made a dreadful scares almost immediately, so he needs to be patient.
So we'll have to pose the question of if it's the same. Segura takes 15th place, the final point scoring for his best lap of the Grand Prix. Richard Bezzecchi in 6th place. I mean, Bagnai's pace.
He doesn't understand it. Ducati don't understand it. I don't know what chance by 1.5 seconds over Acosta. Bio, Digia and Bez, perhaps the threats further.
Right on board with the Italian once again. Quite allowed the Gian Antonio to power on through. Luca Marini's getting dragged back into this battle. It might be Mir who's plummeting down the ODS, so it's going to be a 12th DNF of the C circuit. 127.782, still in the 27s.
So Alex Marquez, after his crash somewhere in the 4th sector for Mir. So Alex Marquez to finish second in the... If he can somehow get up to the lead of the race, he would achieve that.
He is right at the top of that. Trail is Marini. who have missed a couple of... Zarco and Mir have been jumping off the RC2 factory Honda so far in 2025 at the moment.
Scruffy lap on this one. He started the lap 3/4 of a second, and he's now reversing back towards Fabio Di Gianantonio. Weekend as Marini now just eases past.
That was because of an errant front tyre choice by Quattro, riding out of his skin once again, isn't he? All to 7th on Sunday, just as he did.
And Espargaro continues, Fermin again, but Acosta's now upping his pace. He's now...
Acosta in those first 9 to the win, getting back in those 27s. That rear tyre's going to hold out underneath him. We'll previous that the only rider in those 27s.
A second and a half. Alex Marquez rebounding 28 flats and just keeping them at arm's length. Surely he's going to follow through momentarily.
Sitting as far as the factory Yamaha star is concerned. Top 10, because as you can see just behind him, Quattararo running Alex Rins and Enea Bastianini also. But Enea is a 128 point move from 20th up to 12th, and
because he seems to have great race pace, just nothing in practice. Since the second long lap penalty, he came at half distance. Is that just too big a...
His injury, the reigning world champion, hanging over his head, and it does look like that's going to continue. Quattararo, surely very, very... Yamaha being reeled in quickly now by both Bastianini.
To him, he's watching riders breeze past him on the menu. He's going to do the same, and then all 4 KTMs will be...
The best lap of the Grand Prix once again. Another 120 through on Policio, and that's been a pretty tough ass. Davide Brivio looking on. Suzuki, is he about to be a race-winning team manager? Al Fernandez, this would be some
moment showing no signs of dropping off. Want him just to see if there's any sign of any sort of drop-off. Bet on the penalty of the 2 long laps.
Acosta suck the fight to the front of MotoGP right now on that fact. Uses in now on the brakes into the Miller corner. Because he's so darn hard to overtake. For Alex to take second.
Well, it was Alex who was one of them. So Pedro Acosta at the moment, though, don't know how he'll think his first MotoGP victory before he does.
We're looking at Ralph Fernandez and wondering if there's going to be a real left field gamble put in the really in terms of the tyre choice at the front of this Grand Prix. On the brakes into the Duan corner. Acosta up on the outside of Acosta. Alex could do in terms of Macama. Tranquilo, Alex.
Well, listen, is in 4th place. Acosta wide through Stoner corner. Acosta, and he's now clear into 2nd place.
Or 2nd and 3rd for Gianantonio. Acosta in that now 3rd place. Maybe him ruining that double long lap. So many people thought he grew Stoner corner to 2nd.
Yeah, as it stands, he would fight enough to secure 2nd in the championship today. But one's matching to Gianantonio, and Acosta in danger. For the first time in this Grand Prix, timing screens is Lorenzo Savadori on the fastest 11 laps here as far as Acosta is concerned. He's now behind his fellow Yamaha teammate, ripping with that Yamaha because he is falling quickly.
Position to a frustrating 7th. Thinking that was going to be the option that would now in P12. Is Quattararo. Morbidelli, who's currently in 14th at the moment.
On this lap, Alex Marquez with clear tarmac. He does a 28.2, so he barely took any time out. 10 laps, so you can do the maths, he can lose. And it was an opportunity for just about everybody.
I think he's the fastest rider on circuit, but this is short. And now piling the pressure once again on, as he did last time out in Mandalika. If he is coming out of Siberia, was Luca Marini on his PB lap of the Grand Prix, 128.0 with Marini's Honda.
It's Gianantonio, 23, a strong 4th, which was an equal best of the adores the Phillip Island circuit. And elite broken. No, that KTM strong enough.
Costa into the Duan corner is 3 seconds over the line. Was Fernandez's advantage through Stoner corner. On the brakes now into the Miller portion to still be on this MotoGP grid. Sad. After that stellar campaign fighting, he's had his struggles on a vastly empty from what would be a big goes down the hill into the 1st gear turn back into P4.
Can Gianantonio get KTMs and Hondas? So is Pedro Acosta now 3 lap time for Pedro Acosta, and he takes
Acosta. Fair play. Yeah, he just running that little to the southern loop, and that's allowed the Gianantonio Secchi 2.8 seconds. So the jury's front wheel going into Rins.
Marini and Altogether are still having their back. He can just clear that Honda. He did a 28. Marco Bezzecchi, who we now see on our screens.
Slightly without the 2 long laps and the Aprilia in Marco. The underdog in many respects, falling off a cliff like Martin did a couple of streams. Some draft behind Acosta's KTM. He's not
still doing low 128. There's been no better to come on the soft rear tyre, in fairness, but they say, Jorge Martin.
Well, for the first time in 5th, have a continuation of what's been a rather banger podium for the first time in over 4 years. As right now, Fernandez still doing a Jorge Lorenzo style performance, hasn't it? T6 MotoGP start in the last fortnight. Where has this raining and delivering on all the promise and potential that we're
seeing? Pedro Acosta's about to see some more pain. Oh, no, he does just about get it. Stopped down into difficulty. His life was going to be today, and his fears.
Try to You want him in your corner when you Pendes, as you can see, long gone up the road. Resist this onslaught coming from Bez. Under 2.8 seconds, the gap between Fernand. Class move that by Bez. So that might...
And probably as bad as it's going to get for Pedro. Luca Marini, Fermin Aldeguer's pace has really traversed back towards a KTM battle between...
further down, keeping a point scoring places. Yeah, has finally got through on Fabio Quartararo. Typically some pride and some confident, perfectly respectable pace this as far as...
All doing mid-29, so there is still some points.
He's taking second. I was going to say he's taking second on this lap. Quartararo, did you love by the Gian Antonio? Is it all and the Gian Antonio when they cross the line? The twitch there for Alex. You can see that he's running into some late grip. 3.1 second deficit.
Black line on the rear tyre. Is that Ralph Fernandez just fight off any kind of nerves that Ralph Fernandez was so comfortable, so supreme when he certainly doing that.
You can understand why perhaps. Hence, it's so difficult to muscle some gusting breeze around as well. Breather from Ralph Fernandez.
Some pride from this Grand Prix, but
going from bad to worse, don't they? As far as to Siberia, he had just the wind factor was the fading grip. It's a forlorn Pecco back in 2025. Looks like he might be dropping back into the clutches of Bez here.
Bez is still doing 28 zeros in 4. He's breaking clear of Alex Marquez now, so there's definitely much time out of Ralph Fernandez on the last lap. But 3/10
around the head, isn't he? After a poor qualifying, it's been the Aprilias here this weekend. It was the way through to 5th in the sprint. Here this afternoon, it looks like far too much to do coming from Rose.
Special 2 here in the remaining lap and a half. Back on top in MotoGP, they are also faith that not everyone felt was
probably the last time an American team was victorious. There's a massive time swing between Australia. For a moment about that, Marco Bezzecchi then does indeed his mission by Bez.
Don't want to worry, Trackhouse. 9.187. He's got 1.8, just over 4.5 miles to go.
In this beautifully to the checkered flag. Marco, as Bagnaia is concerned, surrendering 3rd. Yeah. Vote for your rider of the race. There's a few contending times, hasn't he? With Yamaha, with Suzuki.
Has 3 more corners to go. Any MotoGP victory, but the first MotoGP.
And it is the phenomenal for Trackhouse Aprilia. What a... The Gian Antonio fights his way through from Costa, 5th over line. Marini back inside the top 6.